Oh, hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy. And today's card is really cute. Now, this is the card that inspired me. Do you remember when I showed you my swaps? This was Janet's swap, a friend of mine from Arvada, Colorado. And this is what inspired me. And the card that I'm going to show you is what we did for our mystery stamping with my team. So it's called a Dutch door card, I believe. That's what I call it. I think that's what it's called. This is what Janet's look like, and this is what, well, I made. Everybody cuts their own paper. I send out the dimensions, and this is what I came up with, was this card. And I'm going to show you this card here, how to make it, beginning to end. Now, it's using the pansy patch and pansy dies. This can be bought as a bundle in the annual catalog. And real quick, did you realize, because Stampin' Up! Has changed a few things, and the annual catalog only has 2 more months, and then you can't get anything in this catalog anymore. So if you have something that you've been putting on your wish list and waiting, now's the time to go get it, especially the end colors. I'm going to get here on page 123. All these end colors down here will sell out fast. Now, the retirement list for this catalog will come out the middle of March, middle of March anyway, and I'll let you know when that comes out. But those end colors that I showed you always sell out really fast. So this is a bundle now in the catalog. If it carries over, it probably won't be a bundle anymore. And when I say a bundle, you can just buy them together and save like 10%. Now, speaking of savings, this is a good die set. I believe it said there was 21 little dies in here, which is perfect to use with your mini cut and emboss machine. And the mini cut and emboss machine in March is 20% off. So if you've ever been thinking, I wonder if I need that little puppy, March is the month to get that little cute machine for under 50 bucks now. A bunch of other stuff, they have all these dies that are on sale in March. Now, some of these are bundles, right? You save, and some of these aren't bundles anymore, but now they've bundled them just for this sale. So you'll have to check that out. You can go to my online store, kathyhouse.stampinup.net, and check that out. Okay, let's move on. Let me show you how to make this cute little card. Looks like this. We're gonna start, now I have a card base here, 5.5 by 8.5. Now, if you need the measurements, you probably better check my blog, becreativewithkathy.com, because sometimes I say things, they come out of my mouth, and they're not right. And I don't know if it's because I'm nervous, because I'm in front of you on the camera or not, but my blog has the right measurements. Let's see how I do this time. So we're going to take this, like I said, this is half a sheet, 8.5 by 5.5, and I have not scored it or anything yet. I think it's best with this card if you cut and score like at the same time. So on my trimmer here, you know, you have the two, you have the cutting blade and the scoring blade. I'm going to move my scoring blade down and my cutting blade up. I'm going to take, this is the 5.5 inch side. Nope, I want to do this side first. Sorry, this is the 8.5 inch side. I'm going to put this at 4 1/4 or the halfway mark. And I'm going to take and I'm going to cut down to 2.5. Now, let me show you a couple things about my trimmer, which I should have showed you before. I had trouble seeing these numbers on this side here, so I just took a strip of paper and put it on the inside, and now look how well you can see my numbers over here. And I did just use regular old Stampin' Seal and put it on a strip of copy paper, and so it would stick right here. I also put a strip, now this is from the grid paper. I just took a ruler up here, because when I put my paper in there, it covers up all these numbers, and this way I can still see, and I have my 1 1/4 lined up with my 1 1/4, and so I put a measurement up here, and like I said, I put that strip of tape there, which will come in handy in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to set my paper here at 4 1/4. This is the 8.5 inch side, so it's at the halfway mark. And I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to cut down to 2.5. So let's go with my cutting blade here to 2.5 and up, and then I'm going to score that bottom half. Now, I probably could have just scored the whole thing, But sometimes with my paper trimmer, when my paper is scored, it breaks those fibers of the paper, and then it doesn't cut nice and sharp. So I want to make sure I cut and scored along the same line, but not one and then the other. I hope that makes sense. Then we're going to take our paper out, right? I'm going to turn it this way. So now here's our cut is on this side of my cutting blade. And I'm going to put it at 2.5 right there. And then I'm going to cut down to that 4 1/4. So take my cutting blade here and just cut down to 4 1/4. That, and then this piece comes right out. So now we have a card base that looks like that. It's all scored nice, I have nice crisp edges, and I have this piece that I'm going to use on my card front. Easy peasy. I just think you need to cut and score that one so you get a nice cut on your score line. Maybe I overreact, maybe it's not that important, but that's how I like it, so that's how I do it. Then I'm going to fold this piece over, making sure that my corner lines up here. Get a nice crisp fold with my bone folder here. And now this is how you have your Dutch door. And then this piece that came out here is going to work perfect as the front of our card. So I'm going to use some other pieces that coordinate with this pansy punch, like the designer series paper. Look how pretty this paper is. And there's also a pattern in it, let's see if I can find it, that has the, here they are right here in front of my nose, that has these flowers like this that you can cut out with the dies. And then they have a pattern like this that has the leaves that you can cut out with the dies too. And I've already done that advance. In fact, I just took a whole sheet and cut a bunch of them out, and they look like this. So look at all these pretty leaves and flowers that you can cut out from the designer series paper. But let me show you what else that die set can do. So I've cut out a bunch of pieces. Like I said, I like to just play a little bit with them and cut out a bunch of pieces. So the die set cuts out the flower. Let's see if you can see the embossing on there too. And embosses it, gives it that little bit of life. And you can cut out, like I said, there's 21 pieces in this die set. So you can cut out, except this is upside down. The flower goes this way. There we go. But you can cut out all these little pieces like this to make a flower that looks like that, or even a purple flower like this. You can cut out all these little pieces. It even cuts out that little tiny piece for the inside. It cuts out 3 more pieces that when you glue them together, they look like that. Look how cute that piece is. Now you could go for hours with all these little dies. Like I said, 21 of them that kind of all go together. Let's see if I have most of them out there so you can see all the different, I just took, like I said, a bunch of them and cut them out. Here's one of the leaves that you can layer with the 2-piece of the leaf. Here's a stem that I cut out. Here's what I call the angry face of the flower, just because in Alice in Wonderland those flowers were so mad at Alice because they thought she was a weed. But anyway, that's some of the pieces you can cut. Then you can also, oh, there's another leaf. Then you can also stamp and cut those little pieces out. Now I haven't played quite as much with those. Those take a little bit more, but you can stamp different colors. All these, and then die cut these with, this goes with this part. But there's all kinds. You can 2-step stamp the leaf with the stamp set. There's just a ton of stuff that you can do with this stamp set and die set. Lots of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead because it's faster and easier, especially for the video. I'm gonna just use the paper that I've cut from the designer series paper. I'll play with those when I have a little bit more time. Okay, so let's just take a couple, this big flower and this dark flower. We'll do a couple leaves. Let's leave a few of them because I'm not quite sure what I have in mind yet. So that looks good. We'll set that aside. Okay, let's go ahead now that we have one more thing that I'm going to bring in are these aren't the brush butterflies from the mini catalog. These are the bumblebee trinkets from the annual catalog, and look how cute those are. We're going to use one of those on our card. Now I think we have everything. Let's look at some other card pieces. Bring my card out here for reference. So we cut the card base down. We have these two pieces. I also have here a piece of seafoam green, and I'm going to take that with a little bit of adhesive on there. This is, let me think if I can remember, 5 1/4 by 4, and this is just going to be a layer here for the inside. So just a light coordinating cardstock that matches your designer series paper. That's going to show like that on the inside, how pretty that is. And then a piece of that designer series paper. Now let me think if I can get, this must be 4 inches wide. I believe it's 2 3/4. But I'm going to just lay that right there on the front of our door. And looky there. Okay, set that aside. Let's do some stamping real quick. It doesn't take much. Because this is a photopolymer stamp set, I'm going to bring in my foam mat. I have 2 pieces of basic white here. These are, now this is where I'm going to mess up. I believe these are 4 inches by 2 1/4. But like I said, I'd be sure and go to my blog, make sure you have it right. And then I have some Evening Evergreen ink here. It's the same color as my card base. On the inside, I'm going to just stamp a quick little happy birthday. Let's see if I can get it straight here. That looks pretty good. And then this other sentiment from the stamp set, and hang on, let me stamp it and then I'll read it to you. Well, I probably won't have to read it to you if I stamp it here. But I'm going to put this down, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you, and then on the inside it'll say happy birthday. I do love this stamp set because it's very user-friendly. Look how well my stamping turned out on camera. Doesn't happen all the time. Okay, now we're going to take this piece and I'm going to attach it, and I just noticed my stamping is terrible. I got the edge of my block on my inside, so I'm going to turn that over and restamp it. But let me put this down on the front of this piece real quick. Bring everything in. I'm just going to stamp my happy birthday one more time because I got the edge. I'm going to whoop, right here. See there? Let's get that ink off. Straight down, straight up. Now I hope I don't touch my paper with my finger that has all my ink on there. But I think I'll be okay. Oh, another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use these square doilies. I'm going to put one of those. I don't know if you saw it on my sample card, but it's right here underneath this piece just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. So we're going to use that piece too. I'm not going to set this aside, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to take my card base, which we don't need that, and I'm going to put adhesive along the top right here. And you notice I set my cardstock there so I know how wide I wanted it, and then I'm going to put some adhesive. Wait, let me get my adhesive going again. There we go. Along the bottom here, and that way I know for sure that when I lay this down in the center of my paper like that where I want it, it's only going to have adhesive down here where I want it, and there won't be any up here to stick to this part of my card. Okay, let's go ahead and work on this piece. I'm going to bring in my silicone mat because I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this, just at the top here for now. And then I figured out that if you look at my doily, they have these triangles right here, and if I put my card base or my white card stock at the bottom of those two, trying to get it straight so it looks pretty good in there, that's where it works to put. Now I put this down so that tape that goes through the doily doesn't stick to my work surface. Now I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole back with adhesive. And this is where the drum roll, this is a little tricky, this part, but let's see how we do. Because I'm going to take this piece now and I'm going to lay it like this so that my doily looks good up here around the front of my card. Now this is really the back that I put the adhesive on, and then I'm going to just take my card, see if he's straight. I'm going to check my sides here to make sure it's all straight here too, with the dark green underneath, and I'm going to just close my card like that, and then hopefully, yeah, look how nice that doily look and how it's all lined up. The inside is straight. but yet you can't see it. So yay! Hang on, I got adhesive here, I gotta get rid of it. Look how nice that turned out. And that doily just gives it a little bit extra special something. Looks like that. Okay, so let's just add our little flowers here. I'm gonna take that big flower and a couple of these leaves. I'm gonna just put some adhesive along the bottom here and attach my leaf. Yeah, I think you go, no, I think he's gonna go this way. Yeah, I'm going to put him on this side, and then maybe this leaf on that side, and then I'm going to use a couple dimensionals to anchor him onto the front of my card here. And then this little guy here on the side. Oops, I went it on the other side. Now he's going to stick to my paper. Okay. On this side, yeah, I'm going to put one of these thicker leaves up here, and then I'm going to just attach him flat to my card up here in the corner, just like on my sample card, and then take the backs off of that big flower and lay him about there. Now you can see both of them. Look how pretty that is. And then how about a glue dot with that little bumblebee, and set that right there. But then since I've got all these little flowers and all these little leaves cut, let's go ahead and decorate the inside. I'm going to just take the same little flower. I'm going to put the leaf on the other side this time. Something like that. And then just take that and rip that leaf right off my little flower. Whoop, this way, Kathy. There we go. And just put him down here at the bottom. And there you go. So I do think that this designer series paper is the way to go. Look how pretty it is when you cut it out with those dies. But I do like how the little flowers turned out that I made by just cutting the cardstock with those dies too. So there you go. So maybe you'll give this little Dutch door card a try. Here's all of them. And don't forget, like I said, that little embossing machine is less than $50 in the month of March if you're in the US. So if you have any questions, be sure and let me know. Like I said, the dimensions to my card, give me a few minutes and I'll fly over to my blog and I'll put the dimensions on my blog and a list of supplies. So there you go. That's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here bright and early. I have to do a little bit earlier Thursday because I'm going to get my hair done. So I'll see you here Thursday morning. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.